Welcome to the Afterspin, opinions from thought leaders in our state. I want to ask John Hood and Chris Fitzsimon, some 60% of our K through 12 students are receiving online instruction. We know that many of them don't have access to high-speed broadband internet. There's a growing call the state should step in and provide this, even in areas where there are for-profit providers. Now, we've had the discussion about whether the state or government should compete with for-profit people, but what's the proper role for the state here in this particular situation? If the private providers won't provide the service, then is it proper for the state to jump in, John?
Because we have, through policy decisions and possibly just parental decisions as well, because we have relegated so many students to taking classes online in K-12, where they have a constitutional right to access to a sound basic education, then I do believe the state has to provide access to the internet for some students who do not have them. Does not necessarily mean we need to build out a lot of new systems in rural areas at a very expensive cost that may within a year or two be outdated by new satellite-based technologies and so forth, but we do need to have as some school districts are working with, places where students can go and access the internet, literally parking lots with buses that have Wi-Fi access, subsidies to households to subscribe to the service that does exist in their community, but they haven't been able to afford it. Absolutely, I think that the fact that we have to deliver K-12 education under the Constitution, and again, for a variety of state and local policy reasons, that has not been available, it's not been provided, can only be done online. I just don't think that we have a choice at this point.
Chris, there are a lot of people got excited about making buses hotspots, but then we learned that in this instance with these buses, the hotspot coverage is only good for like 100 yards away from the bus. It doesn't really solve a great deal. There are people who are looking at the technology about maybe we should either buy into or make provisions to provide satellite internet for these students. What do you think of that?
I think we should do everything we can. I agree with half of John's analysis, which is now I don't think we disagree. I think we have to find a way to have every child in North Carolina. And, it's not just liberal counties that are voting to be online. Harnett County, Johnston County. It's a lot of people in a lot of local school officials, conservatives and liberals, have decided it's just not safe to be in school, at least initially this fall semester or term. So we have to figure out a way those kids can get online. So whatever we can do in the short term, we have to do immediately. I think our disagreement would be what role government should play as we move forward. I believe, as I mentioned on this week's show, that we're going to have to start treating the internet as a utility, just like we do electricity and water. It's not profitable for a company to go to rural Gates County and provide internet down a road where there are two families who live there, but those families have water and they have electricity, and we figured out a way to do that. So we have to figure out a way. Government has to play a role to make sure that that is accessible to everybody in North Carolina.
I was interested in comments from Craig Horn, who is the education leader in the North Carolina House, very knowledgeable and done a lot of work on it. Craig says his fear is if we don't get involved in this, if we don't fix this, kids are going to lose another year, and we can't afford that either. Well, thank you for watching the Afterspin. We'll have more video all during the week on ncspin.com.